The 4B movement is based on 4 pillars, each of which starts with B, the Korean word for no. Bihon, no heterosexual marriage. Bichulsan, no childbirth. Biyone, no dating men. And biseksu, no heterosexual sexual relationships.
Lesbians have never been so happy. This is big for South Korean lesbians. Maybe this is why it was created. Maybe they were just like, there are not enough of us. I'm tired. I have nobody to date. I'm going to start a political movement. And I'm going to get some chicks. That's my opinion. That's my hot take. Just kidding, but also not really. Okay, we'll finish the TikTok.
2 YouTubers, Jung Se-young and Baek Ha-na, are often credited with boosting calls to exit the patriarchy through their no marriage movement begun on their page Solidarity. But even before then, the Escape the Corset movement back in 2016 saw Korean women rejecting societal expectations placed upon them, taking aim at the country's internationally renowned beauty industry by shaving their heads on camera and refusing to wear makeup.
So brave. They are just not wearing makeup. Oh my God, me on a Saturday? You are so brave.
The increased visibility of the 4B movement comes at a time of demographic crisis in South Korea, which has one of the lowest fertility rates in the world at 0.8 births per woman compared to the global average of 2.3, according to World Bank data.
So there you have it. Another video.
Korean women literally just gave up on their men. They're like, they're assholes. They're not going to change. So we're all going to go extinct. But I just think that's so funny. That's also very Korean. Like, Korean as an ethnicity is about to go away, and Korean women are literally just like...
Now, ma'am, I have a genuine question. Do you think that population extinction and societal collapse is effing funny? Because that is literally what you are promoting. South Korea's economy is already in trouble. So what happens when there is no one left to work? No one left to innovate, to keep infrastructure moving whatsoever? Like, what happens when your generation retires or dies and the cycle literally halts? When there is nobody to work in your retirement homes, in your hospitals to take care of you? And maybe that sounds selfish, but that is how the world keeps moving. And then on a broader scale, do you actually care so little about your lineage and your culture that you are willing for it to die out because you've adopted some immature and ill-educated hatred of men? Because that's basically what you're saying. Like, come on. Now, feminism, she said, had helped her recognize that it was the patriarchy that was the problem, not her, and that the, quote, bad things that happen in your life are not your fault. That's literally the opposite of what I say, that your life is literally your fault. The choices you make, the people you surround yourself with. Now, obviously, in some cases, what this person is saying is true. But I would venture to guess that these women are not just talking about freak accidents and things that are literally out of their control. Like if you get sick. That obviously is not something that you can control, but is also not the fault of the patriarchy. They are blaming South Korea's patriarchy as a whole for their problems. Don't they just sound delightful? Peachy, peachy, happy women. Here's another, just broad overview. For young me and many others who subscribe to its basic premises, 4B, or practicing Bihon, is the only path by which a Korean woman today can live autonomously. In their view, Korean men are essentially beyond redemption, and Korean culture on a whole is hopelessly patriarchal and often downright misogynistic. Okay, so you're saying that this is the only way that you can live autonomously. Do you actually want me to believe that there are not independent, unmarried, or married women in Korea that are happy, thriving, have careers? That is ridiculous. What you are saying is untrue.
That is one big pile of shit.
And also, what does living autonomously even mean to you? Like not having to rely on a man or your father or anybody else, being independent? Because that is certainly ironic considering what the author wrote in just the paragraph below. Several 4B women I met in Seoul still lived with their parents. Yeewon's partner lives by herself but still eats at her parents' house several times a week, even though they are no longer emotionally close. Yeah, no wonder, because you are shitting on their entire culture and your father by default. Her mother's cooking is excellent, she said, and it saves her time and money. I treat it like a restaurant.
Hey, Ma! Can we get some meatloaf?
That is absurd. That is so disrespectful. It is not even funny, but truly ridiculous and inconsistent and so hypocritical, because you are allegedly rejecting men. You are not dating, you're not marrying, you're not starting a family, not having children, being fully autonomous. And yet many of you live at home, under your father's roof, eating food that he and your mother pay for and provide, even when you don't live at home, treating it like a restaurant. No, I'm sorry. At restaurants, you pay for the food. I'm guessing you're not paying for the dinner that your mother is very kindly and selflessly feeding you. That's communism, sweetie, and it's not a good thing. Like, the only thing that you have changed here at all is your attitude. Now you're acting like an entitled brat, and you're treating your parents' home like a free restaurant that you can just mooch off of. Like, it is embarrassing. No wonder Korean men are fed up.
Wow. You're on a sex strike. How terrible. Oh no. Please stop. Much about South Korean politics, but what I do know is that it's completely racked by what are essentially Western culture war problems, and we seem to have completely exported modern feminism over there. It seems to have totally destroyed gender relations in that country, and now the feminists in this country are trying to bring back one of the things that they've developed, and the 4B movement is one of those things that they developed. So the 4Bs, as we are told, the B stand for the Korean word no, right? And they are no dating, no sex, no marriage, no children. Okay, go and join the nunnery. I don't care. If you are going to be that way, fair enough. And mid to late 2010s, closely related to other feminist trends in South Korea. South Korea is a very online country, and this in feminist chat rooms and message boards began flourishing, and to the point where it's literally destroying the birth rate in this country. And I mean, according to one researcher from a Catholic gender university, a potent mix of economic insecurity and systemic gender inequality created fertile ground for the movement to take root. Living an alternative life without men emerged as a radical strategy for young digital feminists to challenge the rigid patriarchy of South Korea. Well, the older I get and the more children I have, the more I'm in favour of rigid patriarchies, to be honest. But young men are swinging hard right in Korea. Oh, are they really? So they had like a feminist government, an insane, radical feminist government. It took over. It started being really corrupt. And it started attacking men en masse, the entire country, basically. It started attacking men. And so men just started going insanely right-wing. Far more right-wing than men in the West are. It's like, okay, well, I'm sure that's going to really improve things. I mean, again, just the way that they describe it, and again, I'm from the outside, so I don't know. But the way that it's described is a raging political gender war, right? You can see why this sort of thing's happening. I mean, look at this fertility rate. South Korea has the lowest fertility rate in the world. It is genuinely what looks like a dying society. And you've got, like, the finger-pinching conspiracy theory, again, apparently in feminist media, mocking men's manhoods and stuff like that. I don't know. Like I said, it's a massive rabbit hole. But this is what the 4B movement is coming out of, right? Radical political lesbianism to spite men because in it, a bunch of insane feminists managed to take over an entire nation.
I think it's so funny that Korean women are so done with Korean men that they're literally just deciding to die out. Y'all heard of the 4B movement? I'm a big fan.
The 4B movement stands for these four things, which mean these things. It's basically Korean feminism. The 4B movement initially gained recognition on Twitter in 2019, because of course it did, through various feminist social media accounts, because of course it did. And they are focused on envisioning a future without men because of course they are. The cornerstone of feminism is that everything is oppressive. The 4B movement had an escape the corset movement. The word corset is used here for the societal mechanisms that bind and repress women, like toxic beauty standards. Just like in Western feminism, toxic means anything I don't like. I need all of this from you, but you need something from me. That's toxic. I am the table. This, of course, is not toxic.
Korean women literally just gave up on their men. They're like, they're fucking assholes, they're not gonna change, so we're all gonna go extinct.
That's where she's wrong. She says that Korean women are mad at Korean men, but they're actually mad at God. And if you don't like that word, just call it the universe or physics or whatever, it's the same thing. This is a hierarchy of creation. It goes from God or the universe all the way down through man to woman to child to the natural world and all the way back up. It goes both ways. Basically, the universe just is the way it is, like you can't get rid of gravity, and men have to deal with that directly and build things from it. And we also give approval and attention and validation to women who then provide nurturing to communities and children who are, their role is to be the learners, and they provide creativity and new ways in developing new things to do with the natural world, which is how we get new things like the internet or different types of cheese or whatever. But in the same way that man cannot simply ignore the rules of gravity, women cannot simply ignore what men need from them either, otherwise we can't do our jobs. That's just how reality works. So what these women are saying is, I want resources and money and power and everything, I just don't want to provide men with what they need in order to continue creating them. Usually what keeps this whole thing going is that men provide women with approval, attention, and validation. So basically, if men don't follow the rules of the universe, then they don't get what they need from the universe. That's just physically how life works. You need to know when to plant seeds and stuff. And usually, when women don't follow the rules made by men and give men what they need, then men don't provide women with what they need in return. But now, women have these cell phones that are providing them with all of this approval, attention, and validation, which makes them think, I don't need men anymore, even though men are still making all the stuff. So because women are no longer providing this, men are no longer providing this, which means no one can have any of these, and women are saying, okay, we'd rather die. If you don't do as the universe demands, then you're not going to get anything from it. So man has to build society according to the rules of reality, and women have to fit into society according to the rules of society, and then children have to get good grades or they don't get ice cream or whatever. It works the same way. I want the benefits, but I'm not going to follow the rules. That's why this table argument is so important. I want you to provide me with things, but I'm not going to provide anything back. Imagine if you were saying, I want food to grow, I'm just not going to do any farming. That's what this is illustrating. If you don't do what you have to, then you don't get anything back. And if you don't provide men with what they need in order to make food and fix buildings and stuff, then they're not going to give you any of those things, and then everyone dies.
By the way, Korea has the lowest birth rates in the world. But I just think that's so funny. Korean as an ethnicity is about to go away, and Korean women are literally just
It works the same every time. You fill your mind with entitlement, you blame somebody for what you don't have, and then you use, usually, the government to take it away from them. When the government gives this to women for free, then women stop giving men support, and men go, what's the point? And then women go, what's the point? And then, well, bye-bye, Korea.